And welcome everybody. Wow, that's a long delay. So, whoa. Welcome everybody to our alternative midnight, 9 a.m. So we'll see if anybody shows up. Join the show live. But yeah, that's what happens after a week of after a post-shot show situation. I guess I had all the intention to do the show at the normal time last night, but then I fell asleep. So I flipped it this morning at the last minute, and now here we are. So we'll see if anybody joins live. It's definitely more fun, more interesting when it's a live show. But I guess we could wrap up what happened a couple weeks back now. SHOT Show, the shooting and hunting outdoor trades show. A lot of people pay attention to that because historically it's been the time of the year since it's at the beginning of the year probably, and because it's the largest national show for the industry, a lot of things get introduced or announced there. A lot of things, people look forward to that. And then since about 2012 or 13, it's been fairly commonplace for most of our new media, our YouTubers and our Instagrammers and our other platformers, to attend the show as media and share what they find at the show. I hope what sets us apart is we're not funded by anybody. We have some Patreons for sure. We have some channel members, and those folks participate financially with our projects, keeping our websites online and things like that. And that's about the closest thing we have to sponsorship for the show. It doesn't cover anywhere near all the costs or anything, but so that's the difference, I think, is I've been going to SHOT Show for a while, and I don't think no, I shouldn't say that. A couple of times I've had help getting to the show financially from the industry, but I've never worked for like a gun manufacturer or anything like that. So my interests are not trying to sell you anything at the show, and my interests are not trying to promote any specific thing. So I enjoy the fact that I get to go to the show just to see the show and to see how it changes over the years, and then to see the stuff I'm interested in or that our Patreons ask about. People didn't ask about too much stuff this year, so I just kind of walked around and did my thing. Is my audio working? I see Mike White's out there. Welcome. Is the audio working okay? Oh, this is the wrong screen. This is the screen to do this on. And that means I'll move this over and quit watching on YouTube. I'll watch on my dashboard here. So let's see. We went up a little abbreviated this year. In past years, I like to go up early, like to go up way before the show starts. We drive, so that way we have a chance to recover from the drive. Thanks for the feedback. We get a chance to recover from the drive and then have time in Vegas to prepare for the show and to get ready and to kind of welcome people into town. There's some people that live in Vegas and nearby, but most people are traveling quite a ways to get to SHOT. So a lot of people come in with the airplanes instead of driving. So in past years, or ideally, I guess, we'd be up there early, and that usually means like Friday or Saturday before the show. And then that gives us, like I say, a day to kind of get situated and accustomed. We drive, so if we stay at a place like a house, or if we stay at a hotel, either way, we're going to bring a lot of our stuff because we can drive, but there's certain things we're not going to bother bringing, maybe drinks. We can go to a store up there and buy drinks or snacks for the room or something like that. So we have brought them from home, but there's really no point. We can just get that stuff in Vegas. So the time ahead of time gives us a chance to just get comfortable like that, and to get anything like back in the past years, tech was more difficult. So if we forgot a cord or a splitter or an adapter or something, that extra time would give us time to get to a store and that kind of thing to get ready for the show. And then again, back in past years, we had to set up computers and things. We had to get little networks and things going before there were the technology we have today that makes things so much more easier. Things were just a little bit more technical or more complicated back in the day. So it would take a day to get all that stuff set up and ready for the show. On the other end, I like to come back on Saturday or Sunday. The show ends on Friday so that we can attend the antique gun show that's up there and hang around with people who might stick around. Most people leave right away. A lot of people leave during the show even to avoid the big rush that happens on Friday night, Saturday morning. But most people will leave either Friday night or Saturday morning, even through the airplanes. So the airport will get super crowded and just a real nightmare getting out of town. But once you're out of Vegas, now you're just in the regular flow of airplanes. So, people get out of there. And once they get past the congestion in Vegas, they're pretty much home. So they can understand why they deal with that. But we didn't. We drove, so we'd stick around. And now people would either stay intentionally to decompress after the show, either in Vegas or just to have time. Or people were driving and they didn't need to rush back home. We'd have the opportunity to hang out with those folks, and that was fun over the years. Are there any shoots after the show? I don't think there's ever been any official shoots after the show, but there have been years where we brought up our own stuff and we just went out in the desert and shot with friends. And we've done that a couple of times. It's pretty fun. So we didn't do much any of that this year. Like I say, we did an abbreviated show, so I didn't even go up there until Sunday, and that saves a day or two on the front of hotels. And in Vegas, the hotels are expensive on the weekends and less expensive during the week. So if you cannot go to a hotel during the weekend, you save even more money than just not going for a day. So showing up on Sunday meant one Sunday night and then a bunch of weekday nights and then one Saturday on the other side to check out. But still cheaper than going Saturday through Sunday or something like that. And had a pretty uneventful trip as far as trips go. I stopped and flew the drones around a little bit, but pretty efficient drive up there, thanks to the work that was done on the van, I suspect. And then pretty uneventful time in Vegas, and then a nice drive back. So as far as the vehicle and the drive goes, did pretty well. Everybody I know who went up there, sounds like everybody had a pretty uneventful, meaning good time as far as their vehicles and that kind of thing. I know some people got some pretty good deals on rentals, so that's kind of cool. Let's see, as far as the accommodations, I'm pretty much done with the place I go to. I'm going to be going to different places. I got the short shaft this time where they charged me $500, and then when I got there, it was another $250. So the $750 for the hotel was a bit of a annoyance because I can do other things for $750 besides go to a not very good hotel. But otherwise, the accommodations, I think nobody complained. So I know there's been other years where weird stuff has happened. Our hotel had a fire last year. Nothing like that happened. Let's see, what else would there be? Just the show itself then, since nobody's saying anything. This would probably be a short show. I don't like just talking. I have no interest in just getting up here and rambling. So this seems like it's been forever, and it's been 8 minutes. So if anybody says anything, then we'll have a show here. Otherwise, we'll just wrap it up. But the show was good. People seen a lot of coverage of it. I would say it's about medium to, there definitely wasn't a full show, both with attendance and media coverage. A lot of people are in the cycle of thinking SHOT Show is just for doing business. So nobody even goes there to take pictures anymore, which leaves the audience hanging. The audience, which they run around selling, they're selling you as the audience every minute, every day at SHOT Show. And those that don't turn around and take a photograph for their audience, I don't understand that, but cycles, stuff will happen. People get sick of watching channels that just go there to do business, and then new channels will come up and take pictures, and people will watch those channels. You know how that works. So I'd say this year was probably a medium year for coverage. I didn't see too many people interested in covering the show. Definitely new people there to cover the show, which is good. And hopefully some things got seen. But really the show is there to conduct business in the industry and then give us a glimpse of that. Unfortunately, it seems like a lot of people, a lot of the media, instead of taking pictures of stuff, are in that cycle of like capitalizing on this whole thing. So we'll see that happen for a few years and then it'll change and we'll see coverage again. So that was a little bit frustrating, but that's not my main goal of going to the show. But I usually assume that somebody's going to take care of covering the show. Am I wrong? Did someone cover the show and I missed it? Lots of podcasts happening at the show. I helped out Charlie with his. Everybody else that we know is doing podcasts. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. I tend to think it's probably not a good thing. Again, it's turning the show into what NRA show or the GOA show could be. But, it's large enough, shot's large enough that it's not going to be bothered by these things. It's just wasting everybody's time, I think, with coverage. No one's seeing any of the show anymore. But let me know what you think. I've been doing this for 20 years, and my kind of perspective or perception is that the show is there to show off new stuff, and that we as media should be showing off that new stuff. Even though I don't participate in that, the reason I quit participating in that is because so many people were eager to show off stuff, and there's so much stuff to show off. I just didn't continue to do it. But now it's evident that that's a cycle as well. So we're going to see more or less of that every year. Let's see, as far as stuff that was there, I did, since I kind of assumed everybody was going to be not taking pictures or anything, since they all were telling us for weeks how they weren't going to take pictures or anything. I figured this would be a good year to take pictures of stuff and pull triggers. So everybody got to range day late. The buses didn't show up until like 9 or something. So I was there at 8 and got in line right away. And there was some people in front of me, but dozens of people only in front of me. And once they opened the gates to media day, most people were waiting in line to get the free gloves. And I got my free gloves and booked out of there. Everybody else just hung around. There's somebody that gives out free coffee. I forget who it is. It's like Yeti or somebody. The people that make the coolers, maybe. Somebody that either makes coolers or makes cups or something. Oh, yeah. Doesn't Yeti make cups? Maybe it's a cup company. Anyway, so somebody makes something and they give you coffee. And the first couple of people get them in a cup, a nice cup. And then everybody else gets them in a paper cup. And a bunch of suckers will wait around when the media day opens, waiting for that free cup of coffee because it's cold out. Well, I just didn't care about the free cup of coffee because I've known from past years that that's a sucker bet anyway. Only a couple of people get a real full cup of coffee. Everybody else gets a little paper cup, and you wasted 25, 30, 40 minutes of your day waiting for a stupid cup of coffee for free. So I didn't wait for that. I went just walking, and I didn't do this intentionally, but it happens when you're the first person to walk down the line. That means you're the first person to walk down the line. And I was the first person to walk down past the coffee place. And that means I got to shoot the Ruger first. I got to shoot some dumb smart gun first. I got to shoot some other guns that I normally don't bother shooting, some 9mm guns. So now I can at least, with having pulled triggers on them, still hate 9mm for being a stupid caliber. But it was an interesting show, or at least the media day was interesting. Again, everything's in cycles. I see everything in cycles anymore, and the media is a bunch of pussies right now. They're all wimpy, and they were afraid to make any videos or anything out at range day, which is the whole fucking point of range day. It used to be called media day at the range. They've changed it to industry day at the range, and that means everybody decided it's for doing business now. So everybody walks up and does business with each other, and that's interesting, but it's not what it used to be. It's not what I think the show is for. So let me know if I'm wrong. If somebody did take a bunch of video at range day, let me know. But it seems like most of them default to saying it's too difficult and they don't do it. And that means we don't see a lot of the stuff, or we just see pictures and stuff of it. That being said, it was a little bit windy, but what the fuck? We only do shit like this once a year. It seems like being able to go out in the wind should be pretty easy. There was 3 range days. So my one dog doesn't like the noise. So I don't like to leave her there too long. And I got there early. So that means I was parked kind of close to the range. I don't think it's that loud. The little dog doesn't think it's loud, but she thinks it's loud. I put her in a Thunder shirt this year, like a jacket thing that hugs her all the time, and then put earmuffs on her. And she didn't like the earmuffs, but I think she liked the Thunder shirt. Anyway, I didn't want to leave her there for no reason, and I wanted to see the other shoot, so we booked it out of there, and we went to Pro Gun Vegas right away. That's only about 20 minutes away. So, I guess also I got my drone footage of the range this year. We showed that the other day when we were live at the show, I think, and I'll post a video of it at some point when I got time to edit. But that was a lot of fun. Getting video or drone footage of the range has been something I've been wanting to do for I don't even know how many years. So thanks to everybody who's made that possible. All right, so then after taking that video footage, the drone footage, I booked it over to the other one, Pro Gun Vegas. I'm not that impressed with Pro Gun Vegas. They're interesting. They got a lot of potential, but they also don't live up to that potential. I'll just leave it like that. So went there this time. You just drove straight up into the whole thing, and there was like 16 cars there, and I don't know how many people could be in those 16 cars, but that many people. So I drove around a little bit and saw the event and booked it out of there. I didn't want to wait in line to shoot guns there. Basically, there's just different companies at that shoot than there is at the main shoot, and well, I booked it out of there. So I do have some footage of that event to give you an idea of like what it looked like, just driving up into the range, and then get the kind of the scale of the event. But then because I was going to the Pahrump one, which was pretty far away, I booked it out of there, and I wanted to have time to be at the Pahrump one for some amount of time before it ended at like 4 o'clock. So I was able to be at each one for 2 hours. I only stayed at the Pro Gun Vegas one for like 15 minutes or something though. All right, so and then I've got dash cam footage of all this. I was playing with it the other day. It's going to take a little time to have time to edit it because it's not like it's that important, but if I ever get around to editing it, you'll see I have dash cam footage of the whole ride from the main shoot to Pro Gun Vegas to Pahrump. And then back again? Well, I guess I have back again, but probably be worthless to watch it back again. So anyway, you can kind of get an idea of the scale. It was 187 miles or something, 167 miles, something like that, on Monday to go to all 3 events. So going to the one in Pahrump was like an hour drive, definitely an hour drive from the others, and then an hour drive back to Vegas. So it was definitely out of town. There were buses going out there, and I would say, dozens of buses. There was a lot of buses. So they put a lot of effort into that event. That event is massive. The scale of front sight, most people can't figure it out. Oh, cool. Weston just became a member. It pops up on the screen. That's cool. Thank you. So channel members, especially paid channel members, will get to participate in SHOT because I'll be scooping up a bunch of patches and sending them out here. Check out Patreon to... if you're a Patreon supporter, then you'll get the whole deal over there. But welcome to the coffee crew. So anyhow, the event out in Pahrump was massive. The front sight facility or campus or whatever it's be called is very large, many dozens of acres, probably hundreds of acres. I have no idea how big it is. It's huge. And the new Prairie Fire is the whole place, and they utilize the whole place, which was neat. So you went there and you checked in, and they had, dozens and dozens of crew, like people that work there. And you drive in, there was something going on in the main building, I think. And then there was the pistol ranges that are right there at the kind of when you first drive in there, and those were all full with companies, Surefire and other companies. And then you book over to the pistol ranges, which are, I don't even know, dozens, like 2 dozen pistol ranges, and pretty much all of them were full of companies, and those were doing all kinds of different things. Then I drove down to, and you drive out to these things, like it's the scale compared to the industry day ranges. The industry day is like you would need 6 industry days to be the size of. Well, you'd need probably 20 of them to be physically the size. Like the place is huge, but you'd need, I think you could probably comfortably fit 4 industry days. The main shooting event at SHOT Show, you could put 4 of them into Prairie Fire. So, yeah, that Prairie Fire event was massive. It's a double-edged sword. It's massive. It was a lot of people participating. Like I say, dozens of buses, like full bus, giant, whatever you call, like a cruise bus or a passenger, like a big bus. Dozens of those, and I guess they were going from the hotels out to Prairie Fire. I seen a couple of them on the road as I was driving out there, and then dozens of them at Prairie Fire just to drive people around because this place was so big you couldn't walk it. You had to get vehicles, so they had buses dragging people around just on a some kind of schedule. Oh, She Fires is out there. Welcome. So the Prairie Fire event was massive, very what's the word, like very highly attended, both with companies and people. But the downside is it's massive, so it really would take you a day just to physically see it all. But then it was super windy. Like, holy moly, was it windy. Oh, super chat, thank you very much. Much appreciated. And that pops up on the screen automatically thanks to, what am I using? Streamlabs. So I don't know if I like that or not. It is cool. But I think it's also distracting. So I don't know if it's good. Do you think it's good to have those things pop up automatically? Or is it better to let the host, pop it up when there's a pause in the thing? I'm not doing anything important here, so it's not like it matters today, but I'm thinking if I had a real interview going on, that might be annoying. I wonder if you could turn that off. You probably could turn that feature off temporarily or something. Let's see. So, like I say, the wind was the worst part about Prairie Fire, as a Prairie Fire's event. And thanks for the super chat. Much appreciated. And Bullets for Bucks bought me lunch on Saturday. So thanks for lunch also. I don't know if they're going to put up like wind blocks, if that's even possible, but if somebody was tender and they were so like worried about everything that they couldn't handle wind, then you're not going to like Prairie Fire's event. But if you can handle wind, which isn't that bad, then it's amazing. It's a really big event. And like I say, you would have needed way more than 2 hours to really participate in it because it was just physically so big. There might be about, like I say, maybe 4 times the amount of stuff as it media day. Is it 4 times? Maybe 3 times, but it's spread out 20 times bigger. So you really would need some time to appreciate it all. That being said, that was interesting. And again, thanks to everybody, so that I don't have to, I'm not getting paid by somebody that I have to show up at their event and just hang out there all day and not see anything else. So I really do appreciate that freedom. And hopefully that's some insight, because I'm sure people that went to Prairie Fire are going to say that it's the best thing they ever seen. They're not going to talk about the wind or downplay the wind. It was pretty shitty. And the size of it is almost a disadvantage to it. But the potential there is amazing. I don't know what would happen if the real media day happened at Prairie Fire. Like, I don't know if that could happen, but that could be amazing. But the wind is an issue. And, usually rain is an issue. Sometimes snow, but usually rain. And I don't know what that's like. Prairie Fire is literally an hour away across the desert. So I don't know how much effect the lake has, since the main range that we go to is pretty much sitting on Lake Mead. And Prairie Fire's in the middle of a desert, literally. So I don't know how much difference there was. This year, the wind was about the same, about 17 miles an hour at both places. Well, it was constant 8 to 10 mile an hour wind, and then gusts of 17 mile an hour. By the way, my drone can fly in 23 mile an hour wind, so it was able to fly on Monday in 17 mile an hour winds. That was pretty neat. I'm not going to say I'm going to do that often, but it was cool to be able to to fly it and confirm that it gets good, stable footage, even in 17-mile-an-hour winds. Let's see. So coming home from Prairie Fire, I stopped at some canyon and took some more drone footage and got to play around with some vertical situations, I guess, or vertical scenarios with the drone in a very steep canyon. It was kind of fun. A lot of trees and just rocks, cliffs and stuff. So I got to play around with that a little bit. And then that was it. Monday night, nothing happened. Nobody got together. It was stupid and lame. So half the reason we go to SHOT Show is to see all the stuff. The other half of the reason you go to SHOT Show is because you're going to be with all the other human beings in the industry. So I think that's one of the biggest failings of SHOT Show. There's a lot of fake ass shit happens at SHOT Show where people will go to these events and it's just all a bunch of either trying to do business or trying to get drunk. I don't think there's enough bullshit sessions where people make time to actually hang out with each other. I think the closest thing to that would be, I think it's on Monday. Actually, there was something that happened on Monday and I didn't go. The thing on Monday was Arms Room Radio out of Florida hosts a get together for activists, and that's the only thing that's good. Problem is he hosts it in a beer hall that's super fucking loud, and if there's any kind of sports happening, then it's even worse. So it's super hard to deal with, and it's super loud, and pretty much everybody just gets around getting drunk after a while, and that's lame. So it's not ideal. It would be more ideal if they went to something like a cigar bar or just some regular place like a restaurant that they can reserve like a room or a wing or something, and then have it be, you buy your own food or whatever. Nobody has to provide anything for you, but then you can just hang out and actually get good conversations going. That's something I think SHOT Show lacks, especially for the activist section. The industry has all kinds of opportunities to get together and hang out, which is neat, but the activists, we fail miserably. The Women for Gun Rights, which used to be called the DC Project, kind of had some flashes of bringing people together, but they are such a huge organization now, and it's so changes so quickly that I'm not aware of anything happening there except for themselves. But that's something that has historically never happened at SHOT Show. There's never been a section for activists or an opportunity for activists. So it's not like there's something that happened and it's not happening anymore. I'm just butthurt that we have the potential and we don't take advantage of it. But anyway, so Monday there was that meeting with from Arms Room Radio. Bullets for Bucks is talking about the dinners that they have, which are their industry. They're designed to like allow people to meet each other in the industry and to just get to know each other, I guess. And that's what SHOT Show is really for, is those kind of meetings. Then there's the parties. So there's parties in the evenings, and I'm pretty much now going to start saying there's the parties that are for the business, for the companies. And those are like company picnics. They're like the time for the employees. They're all going to be dragging them to Vegas. They're going to be paying a lot of money to go to SHOT Show. So they just pay a little bit more money, or a lot more money, and they provide a really big party for their employees at SHOT Show. And there's a couple of companies that really go nuts with that and have a good time. And then they invite their friends and their business associates to some extent, right? And then, so some of us have gone to these parties through those invitations. But I think those parties are really for the company employees to just have a good time, to have an actual, let their hair down and have fun while they're in Vegas. But then there's these other parties, and I'm going to call them the other parties because the wannabe parties, the parties that heard about the big parties and then happened. And there's so many of them now that some companies just need to pay for friends. So they're going to have a party and invite a bunch of people. And then, I don't know what happens. I don't go to them. But they seem to me like since they all happened after the big parties, and then none of them were invited to the big parties, it all seems like they all invented their own little parties. And then those have all become, it sounds like most of them are business things. Like people go there and just talk business, which is, I guess it's another way to do business at SHOT Show. So a bunch of people went to those. You can hear about those from those people if they tell you about them. I didn't go to any of those. And then we get to SHOT Show itself. It starts on Tuesday, ends on Friday. I would say Tuesday and Wednesday were pretty crowded. We're pretty full. I would say maybe 3/4 full, maybe medium to full, but not overcrowded, not crowded, not full, like only medium to full. And I don't know if that's good or bad. I kind of anticipated this being a party year with a bunch of people in the industry anticipating just good times. I think it was summed up best by Mike Deddy. He said something like, the industry is happy to accept less money in the next few years for the lack of persecution. And he said it a little better than that, but I think that's pretty much, he told me that on Wednesday, I think, and I think that's the vibe I got for the rest of the week too, that there was money going around. Like there is, it's a decent year. People have made money. They're not poor. They're not tightening the belts. People aren't getting fired. It's not a desperate year by any means, but it's not a year of abundance either. It's not like a huge exorbitant waste of money happening like there has been in some years. So that's why I say it's like a medium year. And I would say it surprised me a little. I figured it might be a more celebratory year, but it didn't seem like that at all. Definitely no assumption that sales are going to go up, and no, what's the word? Like no fear that sales are going to drop. I wouldn't say there was any fear at the show, but this is where, again, I look at the show and the vibe, I guess, or the feel of it. Just walking around, I tried to portray that with some of the audio stuff I've done, where I walk around with a voice recorder and just let the background noise of the show kind of let people hear the vibe, I guess. I don't know what to call it, like the I don't know, like the tone of the show that year. And it was a very quiet show. It was a very subdued show, and I think that's to our detriment. I think the industry needs to realize that when we're in this phase or in this section where we're not necessarily at risk, but we're definitely not artificially stimulated by any kind of fear, which usually is what stimulates it. Every once in a while, pride or honor or something can instigate it, but most of the time it's fear. But we don't have any of those outside influences, and when that happens, we just sit there, and the industry just sits there and mopes. And that's kind of what it was like. A bunch of people moping and a bunch of people trying to have smiles because at least we're not getting attacked while we're being poor. But I think there really could be an opportunity. There is the opportunity. I think we have we don't pay attention to the opportunity of like getting things done in these years when we're not under attack, and whether that be advocacy and awareness, like I would like to see, to remove bad laws, but instead we, or whether it be innovation in tech, we have lots of possibility or lots of potential to change evolution of tech right now. So we don't do that. We just sit back and go, we're not being under attack. We're not making money, but at least we're not losing money. So let's just have a medium year. And I think we left a lot on the table. Let's see. Weston is saying, I hope we aren't going into a period of complacency. That's a great word. But if history is an indication, we will be. I think that's exactly what I've been trying to say. So yeah, nail on the head. And that's frustrating because we have enough advocates at the show that if they knew their worth, they could stir the show in a whole different direction. It's been a long time since I said all this, so I'm going to say this again. When I started going in 2005, most people were covering the show with cameras that had film in them. There were digital cameras for sure, but they were shitty, and most people were more worried about having quality pictures, you know how people are, than having the newest tech. So when we started in 2005 walking around with digital cameras, it freaked everybody out. We literally had to have a piece of paper with every single person that was in the picture had to sign a piece of paper that said it was okay for us to take that picture. It was a real crazy endeavor. And it wasn't until about 2008 or 9 that people became comfortable with us walking around with digital cameras. And that was only because a couple of us and Gun Blast and Milspec Monkey and Military Moron, and I can't ever think of the other dude. There was only like 3 people, and then me and Gun Blast that were walking around shot with digital. Everybody else was still taking regular pictures with film cameras or TV shows. There was TV shows, but TV shows were a massive pain in the ass back then. They would shut down a whole aisle and take over a booth and, you know, just waste their time for like, well, they liked it because they were on TV, but they would waste everybody's time for like an hour filming and then, you know, walk away. So anyway, the environment was just drastically different back in those earlier days of my experience with SHOT Show. Then you get into 2010, and that was the year that we, 2009? 2010, we did something like 370 videos. The year before, we had done like 200, and SHOT Show started to change. They started to figure out, yes, thanks to us, because nobody else was really trying to normalize SHOT Show. The other people that went, Military Moron and Milspec Monkey, and what can I think of him? Those guys were all looking at tactical stuff. Like they cared about military stuff because it was sort of still new to SHOT, and the global war on terror was happening, and there was people that had interest in that stuff for lots of different reasons. Because they were looking at that stuff, we would look at the other stuff, the rest of the stuff, and mostly AKs because that's what I liked. But then, you know, other stuff that was interesting or that we found around. Again, never being paid by anybody, so just at our whim. And anyhow, so that coverage of the show was, I think, liberating. I don't know what the word is, but we definitely opened the doors to other YouTubers to jump in and figure out that they could do it. And then, you know, things have changed since then. I'm not saying that was all positive, but back in that era is when we kind of unlocked that element of SHOT Show where people were comfortable with now with digital and now video cameras. I would say probably somewhere around, I think we started streaming live as soon as we could in 10 or 11. But I think most people started streaming at the show probably like 15 or 16. And when you get to that level, you know, that era of SHOT Show, you start to see sections of the booths being left open for coverage from individuals. So what started as a show that had some media back in the 90s, but that media was either magazine writers, magazine photographers, or TV shows, and maybe a radio show here and there. Then it started to change in 5 to 10 when the 5 or 6 of us that were doing YouTube started covering SHOT Show, because it wasn't a thing. Nobody gave a shit about SHOT Show coverage. No one knew what SHOT Show was. So it certainly wasn't a YouTube thing until about, like I say, 13 or 15. And somewhere in there, everybody decided, oh, I'm a YouTube channel, I'm going to SHOT Show too. And there's no gatekeepers, so everybody started going to SHOT Show and then covering it in their own different ways. And that's where you really start to see the cycles. Raise your hand if you've been watching SHOT Show coverage since 2013. But the cycles are crazy because, you know, a group of people went in who used to be big YouTubers and burned all their bridges and made themselves look like a bunch of dipshits and made YouTube look like a bunch of dipshits and killed the industry, like just killed any kind of interest in YouTube in the industry for at least a couple of years. And then it wasn't until about 17, 16, something like that, that people started swamping it again and either were oblivious about the prior cycles or were trying to challenge those prior cycles or other, you know, who knows how many other angles. And SHOT Show became a whole different thing. So anyway, what I'm saying is it started out being very apprehensive to anyone even taking a photograph, to very restrictive on how you could take photographs. And eventually over time, without any instigation, without any rules, without any anyone leading the way or anybody forcing anything or any kind of reaction to any kind of anything, just the natural development of people's curiosity and interest and abilities changed SHOT Show from being apprehensive about photographs to, like I'll say, like now you walk around the booths at SHOT Show, and I'm not going to say every booth, but most booths who know what's up will have a section of their booth that's designed for a regular person to walk up and take video with their people in the booth, because it's become such a common thing. And the reason I'm bringing all that up again is it's fun to talk about, the changes at SHOT Show or whatever, but advocacy, awareness of Second Amendment issues, and not just gun bullshit, Second Amendment stuff, that's culture. That's our interests and what we bring to the table that's in our pockets when we walk into the booths. It has nothing to do with a rule or an obligation or any kind of thing that we have to do. But if we feel like it, we can change SHOT. I've said it a million times. If everyone walked up to a booth to cover SHOT Show and said, what Second Amendment organizations do you support? And they did that for 1 year. If 1 year, everyone who went into a booth asked that question, you know what would happen the next year? There would be little things on the booths that would, like little signs or little emblems that would be up that would indicate the organizations that they support. And the industry would just become a facet of the industry, the same way that they're going to say maybe they've got a patent, or the same way they're going to say this is new for 2025. They're going to have some portion of their booth that's dedicated to informing their customers and their potential customers of the organizations that they support. And it's not an obligation. There's nobody that says we have to do this, but what if we did that? And what if that was just another facet of SHOT Show? Like, oh, we use, these calibers. Oh, we use these suppliers for our tools. Oh, these are the Second Amendment activists that we support. These are the campaigns that we think have value. That would be a different mindset, right? We would all be walking around in a different way. And I suspect those organizations would all be funded. We go to SHOT Show, and I don't know how much money is on the table there. There's a lot. And a lot of the greedy media go in and suck up all that money because it's marketing money, and why not? But the activists don't have that mindset. The activists go there to tell people about what they've done and to try to get some support and some acknowledgement for what they've done. And unfortunately, the industry doesn't have anything, any kind of get together, any kind of dinner, any kind of an award ceremony. The closest thing you get is the big popularity contest that may or may not be rigged, that is run by a marketing company, and that's supposed to be our industry acknowledgement. No. So what we don't have and what we leave on the table is the acknowledgement of all the people doing actual good work. You got GOA patting themselves on the back downstairs in the basement. They don't pay for a room up or a booth upstairs for some reason. And then you've got NRA with a massive booth upstairs patting themselves on the back, and obviously a lot of misunderstandings in every single direction with the NRA situation. And then you get Second Amendment Foundation that doesn't even have a booth anymore. And what else do you got? You've got another organization out of Colorado that's letting Colorado be destroyed, even though they bring in tens of millions of dollars every year. They're not at SHOT Show, period, at all. And then you get USCCA, $24 million a month with a big-ass banner. They certainly have a lot of people at SHOT Show, and they have a breakfast, period. That's it. So I think we have a lot of potential still at SHOT Show. We have an industry that's massive, and we have most of the activists now attending, but they're attending, again, just to be there and to say hey to each other. But there's nothing that brings them together for acknowledgement. There's nothing that brings them together for awards, which they should be getting. And there's nothing that brings them together to strategize, because even if they just had an awards and acknowledgement to get together on one of the nights, that could bring a bunch of people together into a room to have those conversations while they're waiting for the proceedings to happen, before and after. But whatever. So that's some of my feelings on SHOT Show this year, and the stuff we left on the table again. And of course, a bunch of guns and shit. If you want to hear about that, I can tell you about what I've seen. But other people go to SHOT Show to look at the toys and the tools and to do business. I didn't do any business this year. So anybody else have anything? Otherwise, I've just been ranting here for 45 minutes, and it seems awkward and weird, so I'm going to quit. I do appreciate Weston talking in the comments a little bit. DJ for dropping some links. Otherwise, nobody else said anything. She Fires, thanks for the super chat. And Bullets for Bucks. Thank you for the super chat. I had a sneeze attack over here. Let's see. And then Ron, welcome. Thanks for jumping in. And thanks for being a member. I think that's it. Is anybody else out there? Mike White was out there earlier. I don't know if he's still there. I'm going to chat with Tony here in a bit and see if he wants to do a show today. Yeah, so at least my rant will not be, paid. There's no paid advertising in my ad, and I'm going to, with no mercy, not give the industry an inch for not paying more attention to activism and awareness. We will end this through awareness. Once the other side and those people in the middle understand that gun owners are actually pretty fucking boring and super safe, like we're not a threat to anybody and the criminals are a separate thing, that's all we need. That's that we accomplish everything with awareness. We have activists who have good goals in mind, but they're not deployed with strategy. They're not deployed. They have great tactics, but they're all rogue. We have Ronin activists out there with a couple of loose associations, and we have nothing at all, even offering a suggestion on how to work together to accomplish everything. So until that happens, I'll keep doing my rants my way, and we'll let everybody else just ignore all the important shit that would end all this, and let us have some real fun with guns. Like, once we get rid of the stupid NFA, we have belt-fed full auto again, and we can have some actual fun with recreational guns. We can develop new projectiles that make it super cheap. Ceramic projectiles and belt-fed full auto is a lot of recreational fun, and there's no reason for people to be scared of that. Same way, why would they be scared of a car or a motorcycle that has mufflers that are loud? Those are all common in society, and nobody gives them a blink, and we have yet to accomplish that with guns. And until we figure that out, we'll continue to be abused and taken advantage of and ignored. But whatever. SHOT Show was medium. I'd give it a 7 out of 10, maybe 6 out of 10, 8 out of 10, depending on what facet we're looking at. This chat, I'm giving a 4 out of 10, even though we did get some participation. A lot of people were in here. And you know what? The X is useless. Like, I don't even know why I broadcast to the X. People watch over there, but they never participate, and that blows me away. I think people are just so used to getting fed information on X that they don't realize the internet is back and forth. The internet is two-way, and they're allowed to be part of a conversation. Anyway, so thanks to the people on YouTube that actually realize that. And I think I'm also on, what's the T? There's another one that I'm streaming on today. Every once in a while, some video game kid will come through and say something over there. But thanks to the YouTubers for being part of the show. And I gave everybody a chance to say something. Nobody said anything, so we're ending it.
Shit. Ninja? Ninja! Ninja!
It's 11:59 at Radio Free America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.